Greetings, Commanders. This is Commander Atlas Rand, and wow, this has been a busy month. We're in July, the last bit of July, and we have a third community goal this month. This is very unusual. We've certainly had two within 1 month before. Generally, we've had one a month, and we've certainly had even months with zero. But this month, we have 3 community goals, which is wild. So what are you looking at right now? Well, this is the third community goal of July 2025. It is the Brewer Corporation calls for Trailblazer resupply. Now, I had mentioned in the live stream just yesterday that I was very disappointed to see that the Brewer megaships, or at least the one that I was at, were completely empty of almost everything. All the metals, including titanium, aluminum, steel, and CMM composites as well, were down to nothing. I picked up less than 200 of each at the Brewer ship, not even coming close to filling up my Panther. So that was very disappointing. And then lo and behold, today we have a Brewer Corporation calls for Trailblazer resupply. So now what we've got is a community goal where your objective is to go to stations that have titanium, aluminum, CMM, and steel, and then actually be able to bring that back. Well, not to the individual ships from Brewer, but bring it back to Starley Station in Minerva. So that's what we're going to do today. That is the community goal. Oh, and the prize for this is something very unique, which is one each of a Class 5 and Class 6 pre-engineered with increased capacity cargo racks. So these are the cargo racks that are similar to what comes with, or at least is available for, the Panther Clipper, which is cargo racks that have 50% higher capacity. So essentially they hold 150% of what a normal cargo rack holds. The ones in this community goal are size class 5 and 6, which is 32 and 64 normally. So this would be 47 or 48 and 96. Assuming my math is correct there on 150%. So it is interesting because I had actually predicted 2 months ago when there was some conversation online, and I think it was on Ricardo's one of his videos about the upcoming, at that point still 2 months away, Clipper, that there will be a possibility to have higher cargo capacity in other ships. I predicted that being fairly likely because the way to achieve that would simply be to increase the density of the cargo racks. And of course, that is exactly what they seem to be doing. So while you need special cargo rack slots that only the Clipper currently has to use the size 8 and the size 7 cargo racks, in this community goal, it appears that they are selling as pre-engineered the Class 5 and Class 6 cargo racks, which have that same high density, but do not require a high density slot. So this is interesting, which means theoretically they can also make all the other sizes available in pre-engineered with increased capacity, thereby increasing the capacity of all ships, including the smaller ones. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, this is great. This will allow me to add an additional, 32 plus 16. So an additional 48 cargo capacity to the Clipper, to the Panther Clipper. I don't think that's a great use of this. I honestly think that adding 48 to the Clipper is a very minor increase. It does get it up to 1,300 total capacity, or 1,302 or something like that. I don't have mine set up for min-maxed absolute total capacity. I think a much better use of this is actually for the Type 8. Because if you can put these on a Type 8, you know, given that its maximum cargo capacity, I want to say was around 384, plus or minus a little bit. I can't remember the exact number. Adding another 48 to that would actually be awesome. So I think this is actually going to be better for smaller ships. Or, for example, how about that long-range exploration ship that you would have maybe a 32 cargo rack in for having supplies or limpets in it, that now you'll be able to have 50% more than that. So instead of 32, you would have the 48 in there. So I think it's pretty cool. I hope that we get more sizes of these. So we have the 7 and 8 are officially available, but not as engineered, as only for the special slots. It'd be cool if we got pre-engineered versions of the 7 and 8 as well that could fit in any ship, make other ships have a higher capacity. And of course, something I'd love to see them bring back is take some of these things that are part of community goals and actually start selling them at the engineers, or I guess it wouldn't be the engineers, it would be the traders, the human equipment traders. Have them start selling these for engineering materials. So essentially, instead of just being able to get 1 or maybe 2 a piece if you get in the top 75%, maybe you can buy like 5 of these. You may cost you a lot of engineering materials, but that would be really cool for taking a smaller ship like a Type 8 and really cranking up the cargo capacity on a ship that already has a good jump range and is very maneuverable. So with that in mind, we're going to go to Minerva. Well, before we go to Minerva, let's figure out where Minerva is. So let's pull our map up, put in Minerva, plot a route. 2 jumps away. Oh, okay. So it's actually very close to where I previously was, which is very cool. Okay. And what we need to do is bring metals to Minerva. So what we're going to, I guess, let's go back to Inara. Set our location as Minerva. Search nearest. So we're going to change our location to Minerva. I guess I could have pasted that. I had it in the clipboard. And we are looking for, we're not looking for a station. Oh, actually, I'm in the wrong search here. We're looking for commodities. There we go. And we're near Minerva. And we're looking for steel, for example. Let's see where we have steel. So we have okay, these are carriers. Let's exclude carriers because that fluctuates greatly. So we'll just say no. Carriers. So of the stations, starting with 14 light years out, we have a supply of 63,000 with a very cheap supply. But I think they're all going to be cheap. They're all like 3.5. They're under 4,000. They're under 4,000. You know, I need to turn off my announcements off. I think we're going to, sorry, ED Copilot, we're going to shut you down because you're talking too much during this video. All right. So you've got 2 choices. You can either go for something like this Ferguson hub. Let me scroll up so you can see it. Ferguson hub is right over here. And it is 24 light years away. It has 76,000 units. Again, under 4,000 per unit. That's quite a bit. 76,000 should last a while. That is as of right now. The only downside to it is it's 18,000 light seconds. Now, 18,000 light seconds normally would be a problem. But as the new ship, and I'm assuming people are doing this in their Clipper Panther Clipper, that which has a native SCO drive, which this really is not a problem. So let's go to Ferguson Hub right now and see which direction is it from Minerva. Oh, it's a little past Minerva, so it's probably gonna, oh, it's still 2 jumps. So it's still 2 jumps. And then I will link the my clipper setup here. I can show you guys before we leave real quick. So I've got a bunch of hard points out. Most people aren't putting them in there. These are all defensive. So I have a ton of missiles because I almost got killed yesterday when I was landing. I had my shields go down to nothing and my hull down to half. I had no weapons to shoot back with, and the only thing that saved me was actually landing, getting into a landing zone. But I'm going to have a little more defense now. So I basically got 8 different missile launchers on there that I can trigger all at once. Going to be a barrage, an insane barrage of missiles, because 4 of these are Pack Hound. 4 of my Pack Hound, 4 are Seeker, which means I don't have to aim at anything. So yeah, it's a, well, I guess you have to lock on once. Once I'm locked on, I just spam the launching of them. The other alternative you could do is you could do like turrets with, probably not lasers because they take up a lot of power, but certainly like multi-cannons you could do. So, utility is pretty straightforward. 3 shield boosters and then point defense and heat sink. These are all very standard. A-rated, other than the life support and the sensors. Those are D-rated. Everything else I've got A-rated in here. And is it engineered? Yes, it is. Although some of these don't have to be engineered. And then very basic setup here. It's all cargo. I do run with a shield, again, because after being attacked, I'd rather have a little less capacity, still over 1,000 though, but a good shield. Also running with the size 4 Guardian Frameshift booster. So here you're giving up 16 cargo space, but you're getting 9.5 light years jump. I think that's a very good trade-off. Jumping for 9.5 light years further out per jump for just 16 cargo. And then the 2 basics here. So very straightforward build. Like I said, I will have the link for it as well in the comments. So let's go ahead and go out there. Oh yes, and I'm sure someone will say, actual video starts at 13 minutes. So there you go. I haven't told you what the start time is for when we leave. Alright. Yeah, 40 light year jumps. A little more than that. It's not bad, right? More importantly, it increases your full jump range. You know, the current is 43. A little further out. There we go. So a couple jumps, we'll go to the station, pick the stuff up. Should be just 1 jump back to make the delivery. Oh yeah, we're overheating here. I gotta cool this off a little bit. One thing I will note is this ship does run hotter than the Cutlass. Or sorry, the Cutter. So the Panther runs hotter than the Cutter. The Cutter, yeah, we don't need to charge up here. We're just going through this system basically. I feel like the Cutter didn't overheat as much unless you're going in SCO mode. Whereas this ship tends to overheat quite a bit, even if I'm just not doing anything special, you know, if I'm just accelerating normally. Like, it notices that it's next to a star a lot more. It starts to heat up a lot more. So you may want to put 2 heat sinks on here. Right, so it's Ferguson Hub, I assume. Let's just find, let me look at where we were. Yep, Ferguson Hub has a whole bunch of this stuff. So we'll go to Ferguson. And it should be a ways out. Yep, we know that. Get past the sun. And I'm not running with any fuel scoop. And one thing about this ship is it has a huge fuel tank. And so even with a smaller jump range or a bigger jump range like this, it really doesn't need a fuel scoop, I don't think. Obviously, if you go a really long distance, you will want one, but so let's fly this 18,000 light seconds. It's very stable. Okay, I'm going to turn it off at about 4 seconds. Now we're coming in on Super Cruise Assist. You saw that only took probably what, 5-6 seconds to of flying in turbo boost mode. And now we're just slowing down. And we can slow down a little bit faster than that. Okay, I may have been overly optimistic there. Maybe I don't think we will. I should have not done that. All right, we'll do the old loop of shame here, no problem. Okay, now we're finally slowing down. Yeah, should have just left it alone. It'll come in just fine. Alrighty. So we'll buy a full load. And again, keep in mind, I'm not maxing this out completely on space. I'm sure there's some people that are running without shields, without the jump booster, without any of this stuff, and have gotten their capacity to just under 1300. What is it? 1256 or something, whatever it is. I'm not one of those people because I prefer a little more convenience and slightly longer jump range over having a completely maxed out cargo capacity. And honestly, if I can save one jump and then have 5% less cargo over multiple jumps, I'll actually have more cargo delivered, because if I can make one jump when a ship that is min-max has to make 2 jumps, I'd rather do the 1 jump, and over time that'll actually win. But main thing is, I keep repeating in my messages to people, even if I don't play the way you do, if I think my way's better, and I can even explain why my way's better, ultimately it's a game, so play it the way you want to play it. It's not up to anybody other than you how you play a game which you play in order to enjoy it. Now, if you want to listen to advice of other people, whether it's me or somebody else, that's great. I always try to explain the rationale behind my decisions, not just say, I do it this way, therefore you should do it. I always try to say why I do things a certain way, what I've tested, what brought me to the decision to do it a certain way that I am. But it's up to you guys to decide for yourselves whether you want to copy what I'm doing or not. And it's fine either way. All right, let's see how much is actually available in here. Commodity, so it's 80 of the metals we're looking for, honestly, but I think we did steel. So it has 75 steel, 12,000 titanium. So it has all the metals. It'll basically, you can use any of these. We'll go ahead and use steel. So I have 1152. Some people can have, I think, 100 more than me is the max. And then once this CG is over and we get our payout for it, you should be able to get well, at least one set of the 5 and the 6 cargo which will give you even more capacity. It's auto launch, and then where we are going is Minerva. So we'll punch that in here. Come on. Minerva. There's the little blue CG icon. Should be one jump. Yep. Are you waiting? Or what do you... Leave station? Yes. Yeah, okay, there you go. You just sat there and waited for a little bit. Now, while it's exiting here, let me show you again on the community goal. So currently, keep in mind this is day one, so these numbers will absolutely go up. The top 75% right now is anything over 1,088. And top 50% starts at 2,308. So basically, one load with the Panther gets you in the top 75% right away. 2 loads gets you in the top 50%. 4 loads gets you in the top 75%. Actually, I think that's 4.5 loads. So let's say 5 loads gets you in the top 75%. But this being day one, I expect all these numbers to go up by at least a factor of 4, which means I would recommend that you have at least 4,000, 4,000 to 5,000 to ensure you stay in the top 75%. And for this CG, everybody will get 1.5 and 1.6. No matter what you bring, you could bring 1 unit and you will still get that. But everybody that is 75% and up, so everybody that tried a little bit harder, will get 2 size 5 and 2 size 6s. So that's the incentive for doing 75% or even higher. Now, the other incentive is, of course, financial payout. Just for doing it, you get 50 million. For being in the top 75%, you get 100 million. From there, it goes up by 50 million, but as a percentage of money per work required, it actually goes down because obviously, if you only increase the money you get by 50 million here by, which is half, so you increase by 50%, but you have to do double the work. That's not a great payout bang for the buck. So I kind of think the sweet spot is 75%. You get all the rewards for the least possible work for those rewards. But of course, that's not all. All right, let me scroll down to the station. Scarlet Station, there it is. Right below us here. I'm still getting some some stutters in the game. I don't know if that's on my end or the server end. Hard to tell, because the last time we had stutters that I noticed, turned out it was on the server side, not on my side. And I kept thinking, what am I not doing? Why? Okay, do the old loop as usual. I'm doing a lot more of these days than I used to. But whatever. It's all still very quick. Turn, 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 turn. And you can see this ship is flying not any worse, really, and frankly, I think in some cases better than both the Type 9 and the Cutter. Now, there are certain things the Cutter will do quicker than this ship, but others this ship will do quicker than the Cutter. And I think it beats the Type 9 in every measurement in terms of maneuverability, speed, etc., etc. When we get there, I want to show you what, with my current setup, what the top speed is with the boost running as well as without the boost. Okay, now I'm going to accelerate a little bit. There we go. That should be good. Dropping to 5 should always be safe. This close to the station, at least. Okay. So, which side? Okay, it's that side. So let me hit the boost. So this is less than 343 is less. We'll hit it one more time. And it regenerates so quick. 347, 348. So it's basically 350 with the current setup. Yesterday I was running it with the lighter setup and it was doing about 374, which is almost as good as a cutter and certainly much better than the Type 9 is. And then as far as normal speed, I think it's around 250. So it's 251. Yeah. All right, let's actually go inside here. Let the computer do it. We're carrying our cargo. So remember, again, this is the speed completely full of cargo with 1,100 units, 1,150 units of cargo. So this is not an empty speed at 354 or whatever. This is a full to the brim speed. I'm gonna change something in my graphics setting here. Actually go to the 144s here. Normally going to 60 reduces the stutter. I'm not sure that it's doing anything right now, so I've decided to go back to my normal 144s. Okay, let's sell it. And of course, selling it, this is the other reason for doing as much of it as you can, is because you're also making some very good money selling it when you bring it out to the station. And this is what I'm demonstrating is without a carrier. With a carrier, obviously you could load up a whole carrier first, fly it out, and then unload it. So we're going to sell the steel. We're going to make 48 million per load. 43 million of that, 43,900,000, so almost 44 million is profit. Because we bought it for under 4 per unit. We're selling it for 41.7 per unit, which is a profit of 1,000%, which is crazy high. So very, very good profit. Now, one thing that I know people are going to, again, put in the comments is, oh, it doesn't matter what the percentage of profit is. Well, yes and no. It doesn't matter if you have unlimited money, yes. So how much is titanium? Okay, it's the same price. Titanium, steel, what are the other metals? Aluminum is, what do they buy aluminum at? Aluminum, same. No, 25,000 for aluminum. 25,000 for aluminum, titanium, and steel. Steel is 41. Titanium is 44. So titanium might be just slightly more profitable. And what was the last one? CMM? Check what the CMM price is. CMM is 15. Okay, so it looks like CMM would actually be the most profitable. So keep that in mind. So if you're going to be flying this and maximizing the amount of money you're going to make, then selling CMM should be the most profitable. So you're getting almost 60 for it, and you're going to buy it for about, well, I guess we'll find out what you can buy it for, but I assume you could buy it for significantly less than that. Looks like on the right side of the screen here, it's telling us that it's produced by a few places here and sold there for about 6,000. So it's about also 1,000% increase for CMM. A little less than that, probably about 900% increase. But, you know, you're getting 59 per unit on CMM versus what I just got on steel, which is, steel was 41. So that's 18,000 difference per unit. And the price difference that we're buying it for, I was buying these for 3,500. Presumably you can buy the CMM for, go back to CMM just so I'm not lying about the price. CMM you can presumably buy for 4,500 right there. So somewhere between 4,500 and 6,000. So for buying it for about 2,000 to 3,000 more, selling it for 18,000 more. So that definitely makes CMM the best deal. So if you're using a carrier, I would say just do CMM and ignore everything else because you're going to make the most money. Doing it the way we're doing it, it's if you can find CMM close by, you certainly do that as well. But if you can't, just do any of the other metals. All right, so I just realized you guys didn't see any of that. Trust me, take my word for it. I'm going to do one more run so you can see the numbers. I'm not going to cover up the screen anymore. But what I read off to you still makes sense. So essentially, we bought the steel for 3,600 per unit. We sold it for 41,000 per unit. 41,000 per unit. So it's a over 1,000%, over 10 times increase in price. Is very good. All right, let's go. I'm gonna go back. I'm not gonna flip the screen, but I'll just go back and do a search for what's the closest place that sells CMM. Commodities, forget steel. Let's look at CMM. If I remember right, CMM unfortunately is going to be a landing on a planet, not a station. Now there are stations that may have CMM, but they are very few and far between. Because CMM is produced on the ground. Yeah, so far the only place it's showing in Nara that has CMM in the station is going to be the Trailblazer ships, which is what we're trying to fill. So taking it from a Trailblazer to sell here, I guess you could do it, but it's not really the intent. All right, so let me turn surface back on, and let's see what's the closest one. Now, also keep in mind, if you're landing at a surface station to buy the CMM, yes, your profit is higher, but the amount of time per run will also be higher. So that's something else to calculate. So one of the closest stations to here that has CMM is on Chrysos. And that only had 5,000, so it may be empty. I don't know if I actually want to go there. That's likely to be empty. Yeah. And I'm looking here on the stations that have CMM. You know, a lot of them are just very small amounts of CMM. So CMM is going to be hard to get. Let me see what else is closer. Once again, let me set this manually. We're in Minerva. Minerva. Search. Yeah, supplies are like 3,000 or less, basically, for CMM. Here's one that I found that's got 10,000 and it's 34 light years away, but it's 83,000 light seconds, which is why it's got so much. Let's try this one. This one's 34 light years, but it's closer. So let's fly there. One jump. And see if we can get some CMM. I'm going to start a timer right now. So this will tell us what the round trip is to get CMM. And I'll do one more run for steel, and I'll do a timer on that one as well. I have a feeling that steel, even though it's cheaper, steel or titanium, either one of those, any of the metals, is going to actually be a better deal for you to do if you're not using a carrier. Because with a carrier, you could literally park the carrier right above a planet that you're mining CMM from, or you're buying CMM from, and just go down, up, down, up, down, up, just to get it from that location right underneath your carrier. So that makes it a lot easier if you're getting things from planets themselves. Okay, and let me see, which station was it? This would have been this would have been Payet Landing or White's Folly. So let's turn off carriers. Turn on settlements. And there's Payet Landing right there. And what was the other? Something Folly. White's Folly. So Payet Settlement looks like it's going to be the closest one. This has a lot of stations. Oh, there's White's Folly right there too. They're both close. All right, let's go to Payet because it's right here. All right. Yes, on the other side of the sun. Yeah, this thing does get warm. See that heat rising. Just because we're flying close to the sun. We're not even close enough to refuel. Just kind of close. All right. And we're about a minute away from this. So we'll just bump it up real quick right there. And yeah, I'm too fast again. Usual. Just fly by it and turn around. Oh, getting interdicted. Okay, good test, guys. So while I'm getting interdicted, let me quick. I forgot to do one thing. I forgot to set my fire groups. Make sure this isn't the police. So who is scanning me? Oh, System Defense Force. Okay, that's so I got pulled out, but I'm not gonna shoot him because it's literally System Defense Force that scanned me. So that's fine. And in some places, you will get scanned by System Defense Force, so keep that in mind. Don't assume just because you're getting pulled out of warp that it's a pirate doing it. Always check first. All right, so Peyton. Okay, we still have it selected. Let's go ahead and land at that planet. Payet Landing. It is on the back side. Of course it is. So it's probably in the dark. Fly around the back side. Oh yeah, it's in the dark. Turn on our nighttime vision here. And slow down as we approach. Now I like to approach at about 10 seconds or more. A little too much right now, but I don't like to approach too quick because there's always a risk of getting yoinked out of your glide if you go too fast. All right, there's orbital. 11. Don't want to get much below 10. And then I usually keep the target at the top of the little circle indicating where the landing pad is. So I'm actually targeting behind the location we're flying until we get pretty close to it, and then I'll dip back down so I'm actually targeting the location. And we're at 17 seconds, so we're flying a good, reasonably slow speed here. So we're at 30 kilometers above the ground, 60 kilometers away. So yeah, I'm gonna put the nose up just a little bit more, so we're flying towards beyond it. And then hopefully we'll get pulled out right at the point where we can land. Request landing. Granted. Now, one thing I didn't check, guys, and it probably is good to check these things, is do they have a large size landing pad? Because obviously this ship is very large. And we're going to need to have a... make sure that where we're going will have a large landing pad. Thankfully, this place does. But I didn't check, and I could have gotten here and then not being able to land. It could have had a mediums only. Where's it actually landing here? Oh, there we go. Lucky number 7. All right. It always lands the front foot first and then the back foot. Kind of funny. It squats down on the back. All right, so here, let's see how much TMM we got. And all these places probably in the coming few days are going to get emptied out because they don't have that much to begin with. Yeah, look at that. It's got 1,900. So we're going to be able to fill up, but the next person isn't. Next person's going to have only 800 left here. So this is the problem with CMM, right? Is that you have to go to the ground, which takes longer. We're at 7 minutes, by the way, for the run, at about the halfway mark. And these ground installations don't produce very much of it. So this one had 6,000 listed in Inara. Whoa, what the hell? How about let's take off a little higher first, guys. Okay. So this had 6,000 units listed as available in Inara. When we got there, it had 2,000 units available. So that's something else to keep in mind if you want to do the most profitable one, which is TMM. All right, now let's pop up the map and plot the course back. Right over there. Come on. No, what? Come on. Realistic mode. There we go. Okay, looks like 2 jumps on the way back for us because the heavy load. What is my range right now? It is ship range 30,000 right now. So we must be just over 30,000. Because it looked like it wasn't very far when we were going there. And there are closer ground installations than this one to the community goal that were listed. However, this one had the most. So what am I doing? Come on, let's go. This one had 6,000 units available. Most of the other ones were showing as 1,000 or 2,000 available. So I figured with that little available, the odds of actually getting there and having something are pretty slim. Even this one with 6,000 showing in Inara, you know, we pick up basically the last full load. The next person's going to have a partial load, and that's it. And it's going to take a while to regenerate. These things always take a while to regenerate. All right, I don't think we need to use that. I think we just have a regular jump here. There was just one jump. Yeah, that's just 12 light years. Frameshift drive charging. And this is Liangru territory, in case anyone's wondering. Some people really are afraid to go into other superpowers territory. I've hardly ever had any... oh, we're overheating. Typical. I've hardly ever had any issues with power play shooting me. I've certainly had pirates shoot at me and chase me down and things, but usually not power play ships. Wow, look at that steam on the windshield. So that's not an ice effect, it's a steam effect from overheating. Wow, interesting. Yeah. Okay, and we're dropping it off in Starlace, which is right next to here. So, yeah, there we are. Go a little bit of the turbo here, and that's probably good enough. Let's try not have to overfly and circle around this time. Did I select it as a... No. Oh yeah, I did. Okay. So it is selected for Super Cruise. We will go into Super Cruise right now. Bump it down to 5. Accelerator. Drop out a little bit here. All right, turn that off. Go right here. And have the computer landed. And I will stop the timer as soon as we're crossing into the entryway. I'm not going to count the time for the actual landing pad. So as soon as we're coming through the slot, I'm going to stop the timer, and then we'll do a run for steel again and time that one, and see if the difference in price is worth the slower time that it takes to get CMM. Those Cobra 5 ads are like right in the way. Okay, timer stop. So that was 13 minutes and 7 seconds. We'll just call it 13 minutes. And I did get pulled out of warp by the police, so maybe that could have saved another minute or so. But it was 13 minutes. We could even just look at, say, if it was a perfect run, it might have been 10. All right, well, we'll compare that to getting steel. Go in here, let's sell this. Let's see what our profit is. Commodities, sell. So again, same size load as the steel, and we're getting 61 million in profit. That one we got 47, I believe. You can rewind the video and double check me, but it's the profit difference is going to be about 15 million or so, give or take. So let's go ahead and sell it. So this was run number 2. We're about to go on run number 3. And my estimate is that if you want to stay in the top 75%, you probably need to do a minimum of 4, probably even 5 runs in a Panther. If you're doing it on Type 9 or a Cutter, just multiply that by like 1.5. So instead of 4, you probably need to do a minimum of 6 runs. And I'm going to get the timer ready here again. I had a timer overlay before. I don't know what the heck happened to it. I can't find it anymore. You're not seeing it on the screen. I'm just seeing it in my stream deck. And let's load the station that we're going to go. I'm going to do a quick search again for steel. Go to commodities, steel. And we are in Minerva. It hasn't grabbed it automatically for some reason. And the closest steel is Ferguson. Oh, that's a faraway one. Is Noriga Port? Yeah, I think that's the one we went to before. Oh, nope, that's a different one. Noriga Port is 24 light years. Yeah, and it has plenty of steel. So, one jump. All right, and I'm starting the second timer here. Still enjoying the sound of the boost on this ship.
Frameshift drive charging.
Oh, that's a Zemin and Torvald station. Interesting.
Cleared the no-fire zone. Flight control signing off.
Ready to engage.
Let me look at the name of the station so I can get it as soon as we get in there.
Taking heat damage.
It's always taking heat damage. Noriga Port. So, right there. Port. Where are you? Oh, you're over here. Good. Oh, it's a dual sun system. That's cool. So the two of the suns are right next to each other. That's wild. Yeah. All right, and it's really close to the sun, so we're in Super Cruise mode immediately. Let it get us in there. So we have dual suns and dual planets going around each other. This is pretty wild. Hopefully we don't get pulled out of our... Yep, okay, we're good. This is an interesting system. Obviously way faster to go into a station than to land on the planet. Let the computer do it all. Now, by the time we picked up the materials, the CMM, it was 7 seconds. This is going to be way less time than that.
Landing gear deployed.
Docking bay access is bi-directional. Please use the designated lanes when entering and exiting the sea.
Yep, that's fine. And if they have titanium, we should be able to get a little more profit on the titanium. They do have very little titanium. So we'll snap up the rest of the titanium. And then we'll get the remainder in steel. Is it steel or aluminum better? Let's see. Probably steel. Yeah. So we grab half titanium, half steel, basically.
Cargo hold at maximum capacity.
Yeah, max cap. And we are leaving. It is 3 minutes 50 seconds, so under 4 minutes at the Midway Park mark here. So we're almost at double the speed of the last run. And this had a ton of steel here. Titanium was out. I think a lot of people figured out titanium's worth more than the steel to bring in more profit. Now remember, for the goal, you're only counting units, so it doesn't care what you bring in. So you're not getting penalized at all for the for bringing in steel versus CMM for the goal, but it does pay less. So that's where the difference is. What Q? What? Okay, you're losing our lead here, buddy. We're gonna do and just force you to go. Unless somebody's... No, that guy just left, so you can actually leave now. There we go. Bounce. Yeah, I knew I was going to bounce. I don't think I've exited the slot without bouncing once. I've come into it without bouncing off it, but I've never exited. Okay, let's plot the course back, which I should have done while we were waiting. Back to Minerva, which is behind the station. Of course it is. Like, oh, look at this. You got planets, you got suns, all this crazy stuff here.
Frameshift drive charging.
Back to Minerva.
Ready to engage.
And we're once again overheating. Yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest thing to just keep in mind, pay attention to in this ship. And if you don't need the power, you may want to make things so that there's less thermals produced, just so you're not having to be constantly cooling off the ship. Starlight Station, let's go there. And it's above us this time, right? Pretty close. Speed up a little bit. And good. Okay. Good enough. I might have gone too fast again. God damn it. I'm going too fast. I'm going to turn out and then swing back in. And this will actually probably make our time a little more realistic, because I had that little stop with the police interdiction thing on the last one, so it would be a little bit too much to have this one go absolutely perfect, right? Now we can bump it to 5. Okay, and once again, we're going to stop the timer as soon as I'm actually crossing the threshold. Just FYI, we're just a tad over 8 minutes right now.
Alpha Tango Lima. Please approach the station at a safe speed and be mindful of other pilots in the area.
Okay, lock it in.
Permission
Have the
authorized.
autopilot take
Clear
over.
for landing on docking bay 39er. You are clear for automated approach, Commander.
And this is run number 3, so I would want to do at least 1 and probably 2 more runs of anything to ensure that I stay in the top 75% of the community goal. I'm sure that the top people, the actual top people, will have like 10 carriers worth of material that they've unloaded, because that's what I've seen in the last community goal as well. Some people are literally doing multiple carriers worth of material, and it is great money. I mean, it's very good profit when you're getting 10 times more back than what you spent to buy the material. So certainly for anyone wanting to buy a carrier, this is a very good community goal to do, and just keep doing it the whole week and you'll have a carrier by the end of the week. I can pretty much guarantee that. Any ship you're going to use, well, any hauling ship you're going to use, you should be able to make 5 billion by the end of the week on this. So, timer stopped at 9 minutes 30 seconds. So that was versus 13 minutes 7 seconds. So it's not quite twice as fast, but it's like 40% faster. So doing 3 runs of steel you're only going to do 2 runs of the CMM, assuming you can get a full load. Which is why I think steel may still be the most profitable. However, as I said before, if you have your own carrier, you can park a carrier somewhere way far from here in a system above CMM where you're not competing with anybody else to get that CMM because it's really far from here, and just load up the full carrier. And then when you fly the carrier back, you're just going to be one jump away doing nothing but bringing CMM back. So for people wanting to do a full carrier load or a partial carrier load, CMM is probably more profitable. For everybody else, I'm still going to say it's probably going to be the metals, with titanium being the best of the metals. So last one was what, 67 profit, 67 million profit, something like that. This one's going to be, this is half titanium, half steel. So of the titanium, we're going to get 22 million. Of the steel, we're going to get 20. Oh, same exact thing. Okay. So 44 million. 44 versus 67. But you can do the 44 much faster. All right, guys. If there's something I forgot, obviously post in the comments. I appreciate seeing people that have more suggestions or reminders. If you want to have a different method of doing that you've tested and it works, by all means post it. If you just get on and say, no, you're wrong, you should do it this way because I looked at the charts, I'm going to explain to you why you're wrong, because my numbers are based on actual tests, not just looking at stats. And quite often, looking at stats is not going to give you the same result. So with that, I will catch you all in the next one. Also, I got to remember to mention, I'm coming up to my 1-year anniversary, which is the beginning of September, a little over a month from now. And for that, I'm going to do an AMA. So be sure to leave questions on YouTube in a pinned comment that I have on the channel. So some people may not be aware that YouTube channels can actually have posts that are not videos. So that's what this is. I have a post on the channel, which is not a video. It is specifically there so that people can leave comments to that post, and I'll be reading off those comments, which are questions for the AMA, when I do the 1-year anniversary episode. So I keep forgetting to mention that. I want to make sure that I mention that. And I try to put links to that also at some point in the video. You'll see a link to an AMA. AMA, by the way, in case you're wondering and you haven't heard of it, is Ask Me Anything. So just questions on whatever topic. Now, I'm not promising I'm going to answer a question like, what's your social security number? Not going to happen. And also, I'll save you, anyone asking for a video or face reveal or anything like that, that's not going to happen either. I wanted to make sure that I keep this channel very separate from what I do for a living. So there you go, guys. But other than that, feel free to ask anything.